Yes, yes, yes! Oh, you know what that sound means? It's time for In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese, and another off-season in the news special. And oh, baby, the silly season's begun even before the season begins! Oh, man! Lewis the Ferrari, pack them bags! Haas gets a new livery, but nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And rumor has it, Alex Albon to Red Bull again on a 3-year deal. The driver alongside Max Verstappen. We're caffeinated, we're medicated. Greeny, good afternoon, sir.
And Carlos Sainz is now, as of a couple hours ago, was speaking with Williams. So rumor has it. So the madness has begun. The 2025 madness has begun. Very, very interesting. Last week we were talking about long-term contracts getting signed, and now we're talking about complete potential chaos. A lot has happened in the last week here, but yeah, here we are. We have a Super Bowl of Formula One ahead. Are you excited for the Super Bowl next week at all, Cheese?
Yeah, sure.
Are you more excited for Lewis Hamilton?
I'm more excited for Formula One right now because I'm a little sick of Mahomes and the Chiefs. But this isn't no NFL. This isn't no NFL show. This isn't an NFL show. This is an F1 show. So let's get back to business here, sir.
So, how did this all go down? Because last week we were sitting here with no clue that Lewis Hamilton was going to Ferrari, and now this week we're sitting here and Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari. So how did this all change so quickly? Obviously, it's not for this season. Once again, it's for 2025, but still absolutely shocking for some, maybe not shocking for everyone. What changed? What went down between last Saturday and midweek this week?
Cash. Straight cash. Rumor has it, Ferrari offered Lewis a multi-year deal at like $100 million a season. So straight cash, more money than Mercedes was offering. I think it's a longer deal than Mercedes was offering. It hasn't completely come out what the length of the contract is, but it's a multi-year deal. Lewis had an opt-out after this season for the multi-year, deal he signed with Mercedes. He opted out for cash, new challenge. I mean, if he wins his eighth world title, breaking the record, and he does that in a Ferrari, the most historic team, that's legendary. Not like he wasn't a legend already, but that's absolutely legendary. And most drivers will tell you that never drove for Ferrari, a regret that they would have for racing in, when they raced in Formula One was not being able to not driving from the team from Maranello. Jensen Button said it recently. A number of other drivers have said it. They wish that they would have put on the red suit and gotten the red car. It's the most historic team in Formula One. And then to bring a title to that team that hasn't won one since, was it 2008 with Kimi?
That's correct.
That's a massive challenge, and that would just be legendary. You could end your career right there and there. Bring the title back to Maranello, winning your 8th title, and getting $100 million a season. I'd sign those. I sign those papers too.
I'm going to say something unpopular because I think we have entered the land of magic mushrooms in like Super Mario Land, and we've gone down the dark pipe hole and the dream pipe of potential insanity. All right, you're talking about one of the oldest drivers on the grid, and you're not talking about giving him $100 million this year. You're talking about it next year. Yep. Next year. And the year after that. Right? You're talking about a guy who's going to be in his early 40s. He's going to be 40 years old. And that is something that is not seen, very uncommon in auto racing. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying the likelihood of having another Fernando Alonso situation, which boggles the mind how good he is. Lewis Hamilton, yes, better potentially than Fernando Alonso. Probably had a better 2023 if you ask the other drivers, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close, but do we have a situation where you are that confident 2 years from now that Lewis Hamilton will be that much of a factor at Ferrari? And do you think that if Ferrari is at that level to win championships, it's going to be Lewis Hamilton to win that championship? Or is it going to be the guy they just signed a long-term deal with, who's 12 years younger, Charles Leclerc?
I mean, it could be either of them, to be honest. That could do it. Maybe they brought him in also to give Charles Leclerc a little bit different perspective, a little bit more of a grow-up phase. It's time to put up or shut up kind of deal.
That's the expensive grow-up phase. It's
expensive growth, but Ferrari has the money, and it's Ferrari. They're gonna go make a splash. I mean, if they could have, if Max Verstappen would have left Red Bull to join Ferrari would have done it. Come on, it's Ferrari. They throw money around. They went for the splash. They went for the big splash, hoping it'll pay off. They're hoping for another Fernando Alonso situation right now for sure. But the age and everything like that. But it's Ferrari, and Ferrari had to, in their eyes, they had to do something to shock the world in a way. That's Ferrari.
That was pretty shocking, especially when it comes out before the season. How do you feel about?
I mean, it was shocking. It was shocking. It was shocking when Sebastian Vettel went to Ferrari from Red Bull. That was a bit of a shock. Shocked the world a little bit, but it didn't pan out the way they would, the way they would have liked. But then their car's been trash. They'll admit it themselves. Now I've heard good things coming out of Maranello, but they said the same damn thing last year, even though they knew they had a piece of crap. And they straight up told some BS story, even though they knew they had rubbish.
What is the benefit of this story coming out now? Right? What is the benefit of this situation happening now as opposed to mid-season at the break maybe? Why is this coming out now, and how is that going to affect Mercedes and Ferrari?
You know as much as I know. Even if they wanted to keep this till mid-season, you think that secret would have been slipped out the door by somebody? Because if the deal was done, somebody would have told people at Mercedes, and somebody way down the food chain say something to somebody in the papers. You know this. You know this.
Probably.
Everything gets out. I mean, I'm sure they don't want to know that Alex Albon is going to be possibly going to Red Bull. I'm sure Red Bull wouldn't have wanted that out already. Everything leaks nowadays.
This is true.
Everything leaks. So you're not going to keep it a secret. So if it's a done deal, it's going to come out anyway. So why not just announce it? What's the point of waiting?
I don't know. I guess you're right. I guess you're going to prevent rumors. I guess you're going to prevent, situations that are just going to be distractions. I guess it's going to be distraction regardless. I don't know. It's always strange when you do things so far ahead where many things can happen. I mean, you have no idea what's going to happen this time next year. If Lewis Hamilton could have a terrible 2024 season with Mercedes, and Mercedes could have the top 3 car on the grid, and he could be the second best driver. What happens if Lewis Hamilton is the second best driver at Mercedes this year?
It is what it is then. Hopefully he'll do better when he comes to Ferrari. That's all he could say at that point.
I mean, that's an honest question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an absolutely
honest question. Well, let's hear what you guys have to say. We're going to be up on YouTube very, very soon. We're going to get this episode up today on YouTube. We're going to get this episode wide, of course, on all your favorite podcasts. We got the bonus interview, which I never put on last time, but we're going to put it on this time. That was the interview in Madrid with our good friend Florentino Sanchez, who helped us out and gave us a great interview out there in Madrid at the Plaza del Sol, the beautiful Plaza del Sol. That is the Plaza of the Sun in Espanol. So that was a...
sí, senor.
That was a great time out there. And then, and then, of course, hit us up. Make sure, because of you guys and because of everyone's support, we have been getting more and more offers for sponsorship We don't want to be sponsored by anyone. We don't want to sell you guys stuff. But you guys got to help us out. You guys got to tell your friends, hook us up, help us out, tell everyone you know to listen to In the Paddock F1 with Greeny and the Cheese. We're going to start getting a lot of stuff online, so start liking it, start following us there, start building our brand up so we don't have to hawk you guys products. We don't want to do that. We want to talk to you guys. So help us out with that. And yeah, I will leave you with the roundtable is continuing. Like I said earlier, Carlos Sainz is talking to Williams. What else are you hearing in the roundtable? And any predictions that will happen between now and shortly, very short 4 weeks we have between the actual rubber hits the road here at our first race of the season. Any other predictions for shakeups in 2025 that will come out as far as drivers?
The silly season's begun already, so it's on now because now everybody's going to start scrambling. You know this, and you know this, and everybody knows this. Once the silly season begins, it's on, and you're gonna have to pull the trigger earlier this year than in the past, because now Mercedes is gonna be looking for another driver too, and there's names floating around for that seat. I've heard Carlos with that seat as well. I've heard a number of drivers for that seat. It's on like Donkey Kong right now.
Oh my Donkey Kong. Well, we got the season preview coming up on the 24th of February. So we got that coming up for y'all. We got the first race the week after that on March 2nd. So we got that coming up for y'all. And we're going to probably squeeze an episode or two in between there. I want to get back to Stake F1 and this whole stake thing. Oh, man. It's looking shadier and shadier. And then we, of course, have the Visa business card app. That's getting shadier and shadier. The Andretti thing is getting shadier and shadier. So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about before we even get to the preview show. So we'll definitely be back with at least one more show, hopefully two, before we get to the 24th preview show. And before we get to that interview, Cheese, what do you got to say, brother?
Oh, as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.